In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 3 reasons that you haven't gotten laid in months. Sadly, research has found that millennials are getting laid less than any previous generation in existence. It's something like, I'll link the statistic later, but it's something like 30% of millennials have not had sex in the last year. 30% of male millennials. It's lower for women, unsurprisingly. It's a very high number. And we're still beating Japanese men because I think it's about half of millennials in Japan are not getting laid. But 30%, it's not a great number unless you're an extremely religious nation, which we're not. So it's not like they're doing it by choice. It's just they can't get laid. And well, that begs the question, why is it so hard for modern men to get laid? Why are so many men not getting any action? And I'll tell you, the first reason is because you've bought into the societal narrative about romance. You've bought into this idea that to fall in love is something where you make your garden, right? You plant your garden, and then the bees will come. Or whatever that stupid saying, however it goes. You make your life, you get it together, you get a good job, you make good money, you get in good shape, and the women will come. Look, I'll tell you, I've had coaching clients who are professional athletes, let's not say not the top, super famous multimillionaire professional athletes, but legitimate professional athletes who have trouble getting laid. I've had clients who are male models, one with many thousands of Instagram subscribers, male model who has trouble getting laid. It's very common for guys who've made it by any external definition of the word, any external definition, and yet they're completely struggling to get women. It's really hard for them. And that's because they bought in to the narrative that the women will come to you. It's easy to think that. It's seductive to think, you know what? I'm just going to make my life really good. Some girls will start hitting on me, and then it'll work out. I'll find my true love. Here's the thing. Our brain is programmed to avoid expending effort. It's programmed to avoid expending effort whenever possible. And here's what it does. It tells us if we can get a minimum satisfactory outcome, we'll do that instead of putting in a lot of effort to get a much better outcome. So think of it with money. If you were to build your own business, and anyone could build an online business, or if you were to, let's say, get an advanced degree where you're going to get a very high-paying job, some people do that, but what do most people do? They work for someone else doing a very low effort type of job, an easy to get beginner level job, working at a grocery store, waiters, etc. That's what most people end up doing. And when you get that job, you can take care of your basic needs, right? It's enough to be barely satisfied. It's enough to take care of the necessities. But if you were to put in extra effort, you could make 10 times, 100 times what you'd make doing that. But it's so appealing to not have to do all that effort. And so we get seduced into taking the easy way out. The same is true for dating. If you don't approach women, if you take the societal, do what society says you're supposed to do, some girl at work's going to hit on you eventually. Some girl in one of your classes is going to make it very obvious that she likes you. And you're going to be able to get a date, right? Every once in a while, maybe once every 6 months, maybe once every year, maybe once every 3 years, you're going to get some girl who wants you. And that's good enough. Because that's more appealing to the emotional centers in our brain. That's more appealing than facing rejection, right? We have a deep-seated fear of rejection that we might not like to admit, but people are more afraid of public speaking than of death. When they write out what their top fears are, public speaking comes up more often than death. because those fears are deeply intertwined if you learn about the psychology. But here's the thing. If you go with society's narrative about how to get laid, it's going to be once every 6 months. It's going to be once every 9 months. And it's not going to be the girl you really want. It's going to be the one girl who made herself super available to you. And how often is that your definition of your dream girl? Probably not very often. And that is the number one reason guys aren't getting laid, because they're too bought into this narrative. And the idea of cold approaching women, the idea of meeting new girls on a regular basis, well, that's creepy, that's weird, you're going to be a social outcast, probably doesn't even work, you're going to get rejected. There's all these excuses, these very pleasing excuses that we tell ourselves. And the truth is, most people, even who watch pickup videos, fall into that trap. They don't actually go out and take action. The majority of people watch videos like this, they fall into that, I'm just going to build myself and let them come. It's so weird to do approaches. And that's the number one reason, is that you have that romantic mindset. The number two reason is that your dating profile sucks. This one's very different. Your dating profile sucks. So there's an app called Photo Feeler that you can use to get women to rate your pictures, to rate how attractive you are in your pictures. And I've been using this. And I found that one of the pictures I thought was the best picture that I had got rated a 5.1 on attractiveness. That's not very good. And some of my other pictures got rated like an 8.5, which is not bad. But think about that difference, 5 to 8.5. And that's from one of my good pictures, a professional picture taken with a really good camera, to another slightly better picture. But if I put my average pictures, which are still better than the average guy because I have a professional camera, and I also have I know a little bit about photography, so my pictures are going to be better than the average guy. Some of my other pictures would be a 3, a 4, so 3 to 8.5, just based on different pictures. Because the reality is, pictures is all about catching the right moment, the lighting, the right angle, the difference between a bad picture of you and a good picture of you is going to be the difference between looking like a male model and looking like someone who lives in their mother's basement and is like, a virgin who couldn't even get the time of day from a girl. That's the difference. So if you've been using Tinder and Bumble or whatever and you're struggling to get any matches, that's probably the reason. Your profile might be hurting you too, but it's your pictures more than anything else. And I highly recommend that you pay the $150, $200 to get a decent professional photo shoot and get some nice pictures, like a striking black and white picture or any good portrait is going to get you like 10 times more matches. And get some of those pictures, put them on Photo Feeler, compare them to your others, and you're going to see, holy shit, women were rating me as a 2, now they're rating me as a 9. No wonder I wasn't getting any results on Tinder. And then the second thing, as far as Tinder goes, and look, if you're not willing to do a professional photo shoot, go out with a friend, bring a newer iPhone, right? As long as you have like an iPhone X or better or a newer Samsung phone, you can get pretty good pictures, and use the portrait mode and take just a shit ton of pictures. Take hundreds of pictures, and eventually you're going to find some good ones. Eventually you're going to get one that's like at least an 8.5. And even if you're not a good-looking guy, you can get a picture that's a 9 or above as far as how women would rate it. It's totally possible. So the second part is when they use Tinder, their messaging is extremely lazy. They say, hey. If your opener's hey, that's a shitty opener. Stop using hey or anything like hey. There's a video by Playing with Fire, I'll link it in the description, that shows a variety of different openers and which ones have the highest open rate and which ones are the most likely to lead to dates. And, there's a lot of different ways to open, but those openers will be a million times better than what most guys are using. So do those two things, and you should at least be able to get some cute girls from Tinder or whatever dating app on a regular basis, right? If you get a good picture, get it rated on Photo Feeler, make sure it's at least like an 8.5. Ideally, restart your account. You can do that with, what's the app called? I'll link that in the description below as possible. There's a website you can use, felixmerchant.com. You can use to reset your Tinder profile with a new number verification. So you can do that as well, because you want to change your ELO score. And the easiest way to do that is to make a new account as opposed to changing the one you have. Anyway, that's number 2, right? If you're using Tinder, you're just doing it wrong. You're half-assing it. And there are so many guys using Tinder, and there's so many more men than women, that you have to be in at least like the top 10% to do well at all, right? Otherwise, you're just not going to get any matches or attention really whatsoever. You have to have some professional looking pictures. You have to put some effort in and stand out from the crowd, or it's just not going to happen, right? It's just a waste of your time unless you're willing to do that. That's my advice on that. And the third reason, and this goes for guys who are doing cold approach, the third reason you're not getting laid is, yeah, you're going out, you're meeting some girls, but you're not going for the close. If you're honest with yourself, you're not taking the actions that even could lead to you getting laid. So you're basically dipping your feet into the pool, but you're not diving in. Your results from pickup will drastically change if you just make a habit. Anytime I'm talking to a cute girl, I'm either going to ask for her number or invite her back to my place at some point, right? I'm going to attempt to pull her. A lot of them will say no, but some will say yes. You'll be surprised at how many will say yes. And at first, I would make that a habit. Just every time, go for the number, go for at least the Instagram until that's normal for you. Because if the number of opportunities you're probably missing is extreme. Like, it's crazy how many opportunities you're missing by not going for the number regularly or not going for the close. And really ask yourself, okay, I go out, I do some approaches, but how often do I go for the close genuinely? And if it's not, say 10 times a week that you're at least asking a girl for a number, well, that's why you're not getting laid. That's the real reason. And you can get stuck on, I'm not charismatic enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not muscular enough, I'm not... You can do that mental jujitsu on yourself. But none of those things matter if they're not built on a foundation of actually trying. There's a quote, "You're not even really doing game." And that's the harsh truth, is that if you're not going for the close when you find a girl at all attractive, then you're not really doing game. You're just kind of pretending to be doing game for some ego boost. Or your ego's getting in your way, and you're using it as an excuse to not really put yourself out there. So those are the top 3 reasons that you're not getting laid, or that you haven't gotten laid in over a year. It's a lot easier to fix this than a lot of guys think. If you correct course and basically implement the advice I've given in this video, you can change things very quickly, very rapidly. You can start meeting girls, start getting dates, and start having an exciting dating life as opposed to this like very frustrating and disappointing dating life. I don't know if your whole life is that way, but at least the dating aspect doesn't have to be that way if you take those steps. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. And by the way, just in case you don't know, I'm working on creating a mastermind group, which is going to be called The Inner Circle. And that group is a very high quality group of men who are taking this seriously, who are taking action, putting themselves out there, making progress. And by being a part of that community, you get sucked into that energy, right? It's like a magnet that pulls you towards getting more results, towards taking more action. It's kind of like CrossFit in fitness. There's this cult, there's this group that they're joining. And when they're a part of that atmosphere, just being a part of that group, they go hard. I'm not sure how healthy what they do is, how safe CrossFit is. But, if you've met CrossFit people, they take it very seriously, right? They're a part of this community. Another example would be like vegans, right? When they become a part of that, they take it very seriously, and there's a shift in identity that happens that draws them towards success. You are the average of the 5 people you spend time with the most. I don't know if that quote is 100% true, but it's a lot more true than we probably want to admit. And so I'm creating a community for pickup where you are going to be the average of people who are taking a lot of action and propelling you towards success. And that group will have in-field breakdowns of myself approaching women. Everyone will be posting their field reports to inspire each other and give each other advice. And then also there will be live weekly coaching calls with me where we all address each other's sticking points and find out what's holding people back from getting the results they want and fixing that as a group. So that group is going to be completely life-changing. I'm going to be inviting a very small number of my subscribers, people who've bought my course, people who've done coaching with me, and then a few random subscribers, but a very small number to a beta test. And once that beta test is done in a month, I'm going to open up to a certain number of public subscribers. But the beta test will be free, so check your email to see if you're getting invited to that. In the next few days, I'll be sending out my invites. So that's something to keep your eyes peeled for. But this is something I'm really putting a lot of effort into because the one thing that helped me have success in pickup more than anything else was the people I met. It was the guys I met who were better than me, who took more action, who were more charismatic, and helped me bring me up to their level, right? They helped me learn from them, and making friendships with those kinds of people and being part of my local community, I had a local pickup community I was a part of, made all the difference in the world. And that's why I'm creating something similar for you, but on a worldwide level.